Hey guys, Adib, the Texas miner, and what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today is the 5 things that I considered when selecting my mining frame. This is the Aero-cooled, A-E-R-O, cool Dream Box. The 5 things that were very important to me was aesthetic appeal, the ease of assembly, the type of material, the scalability, and finally the cost. I started out with a wooden mining frame and I was looking to go bigger. I was plotting for a 14 rig operation, and I wanted to make sure that this wasn't when I was presenting to investors looking to scale up past 14 units. I wanted to make sure that the aesthetic appeal and my operation, the final product, was something that was scalable and clean cut. It didn't look like it was some backyard project, even though it still was. So that was an important part of my operation. So maybe, hey, maybe you got 1 or 2 rigs, cryptocurrency, you know, some people don't even know what a Bitcoin is. And you go, now you're talking to family members and hey, maybe you got 1 or 2 rigs and you want to scale up, you know, get mom, dad, brother, sister involved, and you show them this rig made out of wood, and they're like, well, man, what's that? How's that making money? You know, it's made out of wood, dude. So aesthetic appeal was one of those major things to me. It may not be to you, hey, take it or leave it, but still, this has 4 things that top the competition. The ease of assembly. It took about the same time to assemble one of these rigs or one of these frames as it did with the wooden and metal type first edition or first generation frames. The type of material, hey, this is all metal. It's got plastic connectors. Those connectors right there. This comes in, you don't buy it like this. It comes in a bunch of different pieces. I'll show you guys in a later video how to assemble it. But in these plastic pieces is metal frames inside, so you can stack them, you know, 4 tall, because it gets pretty heavy when you have a lot of equipment. So you don't want all this stuff riding on plastic joints, especially when you're moving it and shipping it around. It's got metal inside of it. The other great thing that this thing is all metal is that when these GPUs are attached to the top of this right here, they transfer the heat transfers to, so this GPU is a NVIDIA GTX 1060, and I was doing some liquid cooling experiments with it, and that's why I have the fans off. But if you can see, the more surface area of metal helps dissipate heat better. That's why there's all these little fins. I learned that from when I was taking my crash course on Thermodynamics from a former vice president of Intel, which his name will remain anonymous because I don't have his permission to disclose that. This frame, you know, I didn't go into it thinking about thermodynamics or anything like that. It's just a perk that came up, you know, I want to share with you guys. So heat transfers to this, and when you're shooting in the cool air from the bottom and bringing it up to the top, I'm sure that this helps dissipate heat, because when I had just 1 rig up and running, just testing it to make sure that it was stable, getting ethos and all that stuff together, this frame was cooking hot. It was cooking when I touched it. So that's when I noticed. I was like, wow, this thing really transfers heat. I better put a fan on it. But the more surface area that you have in metal, the better and more efficient your cooling will be. I also, it keeps getting better. I cut the cost of shelves. I went to the hardware store, and man, those shelves were expensive, especially if you wanted the industrial serious, you were going for the aesthetic appeal and you wanted the better shelves. Well, hey, it's going to knock into your ROI a little bit, because the more you spend, the longer it's going to take to get your money back. So we didn't want to spend a lot. So I cut the cost of shelves completely out. These are, when I move these, pop, and I move them around the house. Move them to different people's houses. I only have 8 at this house. I'm not going to disclose where everything else is, but they're running. So I can throw one of these in the back of my truck, no problem. Pick it up, run it up to wherever house I want, and then when I'm moving my operation, so I've seen some pretty impressive operations out there. I'm not dogging anybody. But if they need to move, or their lease is up, or for whatever reason, life happens, they need to move. Then you're gonna have to disassemble all those cards. You're gonna have to put them back in their GPU box. You're gonna have to take the power supply, motherboard. All the assembly that you did, you're gonna have to undo, and then you redo when you get there. So this, you just pop it up like a box, and they're units. I'm never gonna have to reassemble a unit again, as long as my, you might have to change out a graphics card or PCIe riser, but for the most part, you do it once and you get it done. The next was cost. $140, $150. Click the link below. We got a link to Amazon. If you appreciate the video, just buy it through us, help us out, and we continue to help you. This is the beauty of this. This is the beauty of cryptocurrency. It's completely decentralized, community-based. I don't gain any value from keeping this information just to myself. Okay, it's not you can't patent your mining rig. You can't, and I love it because nobody can own it. Everybody wants to own it. Apple can't come in and just own the whole thing. It's power to the people, and I'm here to help you guys through your mining endeavors. And a smart, how does it go? A smart person will learn from their mistakes, but a genius will learn from others. I'm fortunate enough to learn from Tai and Leon Fu, the Honorable Grand Master. If you liked this video, follow me on Twitter, Texas_miner, and be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, cryptocurrency.market/newsletter.